I began playing volleyball when I was 6 years old, just bopping the ball back and forth with my dad, who taught me the game after he immigrated to this country from Hungary. He had played on the junior national team for Hungary before he came here, so he brought a real love of volleyball with him. And I started playing on a court, like actually 2-on-2 sand volleyball when I was 9. I think that was the first game I ever played. He set me up with a good player, and I played against him and a friend across the net. We started playing in tournaments when I was 11, and so by the time I got to be about 16 years old, I was playing really high-level beach volleyball and also getting really into indoor volleyball. So fast forward to 1997, 20 years later. I'm now 36, and I got to play in 1996 with my partner Kent Steffes in the first ever beach volleyball Olympics in Atlanta, Georgia, and we got to play our great friends and fellow Americans across the net, Mike Dodd and Mike Whitmarsh. We almost didn't want to have a winner. We wanted to have figure out
everybody go
a four-way tie for gold medal. But anyway, just a few weeks later, after that Olympics, my shoulder, I've been playing volleyball for well over 30 years, actually. About 30 years at that point from the very start. And after you've been playing the game a long time, puts a lot of strain on certain things, and my shoulder was one of them. And something gave way in my shoulder just 3 weeks after the Olympics. So I had my first shoulder surgery for a torn rotator cuff and a lot of other issues that were the result of 30 years of volleyball. And came back the next season, the summer of 1997, to the next AVP Pro Beach Volleyball season. And I had a new partner at that time, and it was not unusual, and I wasn't mad at him at all. I understood why he did it, but my former partner, the guy I won the gold medal with, decided he was playing with somebody new during my rehab, and they were doing so well, it made perfect sense for him to continue on with that player. They were winning a ton. And so I played with a new partner, Adam Johnson. The architecture in my shoulder had changed from what it was prior to surgery. The surgeon, among other things, and this was part of the plan, but he tightened things up. I had a really loose shoulder. And so I would, when I finally came back and I'm playing, I would take a swing, and after years and years, 20 years plus of knowing exactly where the ball would go, I would take a swing, and now the ball would go 5 feet different from where I thought it would go. Maybe it would go 5 feet farther or 5 feet to the left. And it was a real struggle for me to figure out this new shoulder. We had a couple of okay finishes, and then we had some really lousy ones, lousier than either of us had ever really had. And most of it was on me. I was really struggling to carry the load I needed to carry as half the team. And so we had this another lousy finish in Milwaukee late that summer. And I was incredibly frustrated with my own performance. I felt like I was letting my partner down, my teammate, and the shoulder didn't seem to be getting much better. We lost out at probably 8:30 that morning in Milwaukee, and my flight didn't leave till about 8 that evening. And it would have cost too much money, and we won so little prize money by getting 9th in that tournament that I chose not to spend the extra few $100s to fly home earlier, because it was just a waste of money. And I just started aimlessly driving around, trying to find a quiet place to basically have a real heart-to-heart meeting with myself, and eventually found a very different beach somewhere else in Milwaukee. I don't even know if I could find it now, but I found a bench and just sat down there for a few hours to reflect on my struggles. And I came to the conclusion that I guess I accepted, after thinking about it and pondering it and reflecting on it, that I was not going to be the player that I was before. The old Karch, the one that had played the kind of volleyball that had won a gold medal less than 12 months before, and the one that had been until 3 weeks after that Olympics when the injury happened, was probably not going to exist anymore. And so I had to come to grips and to peace with that. And that this would probably be my last season, because I had just been putting so much pressure on myself to try to be good for my teammate and to do well. And it just didn't seem to be working. So I came to grips and to peace with the fact that I'm probably not going to make much progress. I've had a great run. Got to play beach volleyball at the top levels for 20 years, which was far, far longer than I ever dreamed of playing. And so I'll play the last 5 or 6 or 7 tournaments of this season, and then it'll be probably time to call it quits. And like I said, I probably got 10 more years than I thought. Maybe I was thinking maybe I would play until my mid to late 20s. I got to play through the age of 36 actually, in this 1997 season. And so just reached a different level of peace of mind about this struggle. And so we came back. I didn't tell my partner a lot about it. I did tell my wife about it, but I was thinking, okay, I'm gonna be winding down here. And it gave me a little bit of ease, and I found myself not putting quite the same pressure on myself at the next event, knowing, all right, we'll just play and see what happens, because I know I'm gonna wrap things up. And that next weekend, my play improved. So much so that he and I won that tournament. After the previous 3, I think we had finished 17th and maybe 9th and maybe 9th. We had a string of bad finishes that were all really thanks to my poor play. But we won the next event, and then we won the next event, and then we won the next event, and then we won the next event. So after I thought my career was going to be done, we won 4 tournaments in a row, and I ended up playing 10 more years and didn't retire until the end of the 2007 season, not the 1997 season. Some of that peace of mind I was able to find and put a little pressure on myself just seemed to unleash something in me. It gave me a little less tension and a little more time and forbearance and grace to myself, I guess, that I have some room to still try to figure out this new shoulder and this new architecture. And whatever slack I gave myself had a big impact on my performance. And so we ended up finishing really strong, and I won a lot more tournaments both with Adam and with other players, and got to play 10 more years. Being at peace with a couple of things. Again, being a little more patient with myself was a big one. And also cherishing the time that I had and thinking I got to a better place of not fearing the end of my volleyball career, because I could look back and be so grateful for the experiences that I got and the amount of time that I got, far longer than I ever dreamed it would be. And just the peace of mind of that grace and gratitude I gave myself, I think actually helped my performance a lot, and helped me be more patient with myself. Making sure to not just know it, but to say it, to communicate it. Look, there are lots of other really good opponents out there, and every time we take the court, the enemy has a strong say in this battle. So we have to make sure not to expect to win every point. The margins are really thin, even though we're the number 2 team in the world, and we beat the number 1 team several times last year, and they beat us. In a close match, maybe we win 100 points and they win 100 points. And it's like, it's that close. And so we haven't really earned the right to expect to win when it's that close. What we do have earned the right to do is to know that we're a great team. We worked really hard to be a great team, and we've earned the right to stand on that court and battle toe to toe with anybody. But we haven't earned the right to just expect that the win is going to happen. And so that guides us in training. It guides our effort level. When we have lower expectations of an outcome, it means we have to work harder in the next minute, in the next 10 minutes, to make our precious time count, and to use every day that we have to try to scratch out an advantage so that we can change it to where we win 101 and they win 99, or we win 102 and they win 98. And that can be the difference between a gold medal and no medal at all in the Olympics. One other thing I would say is that I also got a lesson in this earlier on. Like when we won our gold medal in 1984, we had never competed in Olympics before. We didn't know what to expect. Didn't know what to expect means lower expectations. And we had a hope of winning a medal of some sort there. But when we actually won the gold medal, we experienced this euphoria that was incredible. I felt like for the next 6 to 8 weeks, I was walking around 2 feet off the ground. It was just incredible to have done what we did. Then we became the number 1 ranked team for most of the next 4 years, and we went into the next Olympics expecting to win. We're the number 1 ranked team. We're the defending Olympic champion. We've won these other tournaments like World Cup and World Championships. And after that tournament, mostly rather than joy, I just felt a sense of relief. And I was just a kind of a pile of goo after that. So I never felt like the same euphoria, and a lot of it had to do with much higher expectations at the second Olympics, because we had had so much success leading up to that. So I think that robbed me of some satisfaction and joy and happiness out of the accomplishment. It was a great accomplishment, but I didn't get nearly the same lasting joy and happiness out of it. But on a daily basis, lowered expectation, although we can still have hopes, but that lowered expectation of an outcome helps drive, especially when we're talking about it regularly, helps drive, I think, higher effort levels from me for the group and from the group itself.